Last week I sat down to my computer and started scrolling. Really with no purpose in mind, just searching. After a little bit of mindless searching, I got an idea. I wanted to see if there was any upcoming gravel races in the area. I looked and quickly found the Hibernator 100. This intrigued me. I noticed it was this Saturday. Today was Wednesday. On impulse, I decided to sign up. The Hibernator 100 offered 3 distances, a 30 mile, a 60 mile, and a 100 mile race. I signed up for the 100 mile. The distance did not worry me, but what did was the fact that I forgot to check the weather for Saturday. The prediction? Rain. All day. Starting in the morning and progressively getting worse. I wasn't going to back out. Not now anyway. Friday night, I packed my bags and went to bed, ready for a cold day of riding tomorrow. I woke up early, gathered my things, and headed north for the race. When I got there, I layered up, threw my cycling shoes on, and went to the bathroom. When I stepped out of the bathroom, the race had started. People were heading out, so I had to hop on my bike and do the same. The weather forecast had changed for the day, and the predicted rain would come later in the day rather than in the morning. This changed my mentality at the start of the race. I wanted to get up by the front group and get a tow to be able to cover the most ground I could at the beginning of the race. This decision would later prove to bite me in the ass, but we will get to that in a few. I kept up with the front group until about mile 19. Here, they turned it up to 11, and I was not up for it. I met Mark and Jay, who also broke off the front group, and I would ride with them for an additional 10 miles. During the race, I failed to consider the differences in race lengths. I was doing the 100 mile, but Mark and Jay were doing the 60. So after taking the wrong turn, I turned around, said good day to Mark and Jay, and was on my own way. That's not intended to be a poem, but it was. This was actually the highlight of my day. The rain had not come yet, and I was almost a third done with the race. I usually ride by myself out here, so riding alone in the race gave me some comfort. It was the first part of the day where I could pull my camera out and record what I wanted without feeling like I'm holding someone back or bothering someone. At mile 32, I pulled up to the first aid station. I grabbed a couple of bananas, filled up my water bottles, and hit the course again. I was then joined by another cyclist. His name was also Josh. It was fun riding and chatting with him for a few miles, but I decided to let him carry on without me, as I was seeking a little more alone time and the pace that I wanted to be at. Almost to the halfway. The pace has been considerably slower than when I started. And that's okay. This felt nice for a bit, but after a while it kept getting longer and longer, and the rain picked up. I started to get soaked and was only to the halfway point of the race. I kept riding alone until mile 52 when I hit the next aid station. Here was the intersection for both 100 mile and 60 mile courses. This gave me an opportunity to meet some new racers and potentially ride out with them, and I did just that. After refueling and filling up my waters, I joined 2 racers. This would be the last aid station until the finish. It was super nice riding with other people again. This is, however, the point where I got bit in the ass, as I mentioned before. My pace at the start of the race was good on paper, but not good in practice. My legs were cramping out and stops became more and more needed for myself. I told them to carry on without me to be able to go at my own pace and to let them go at theirs. I also had a busted front brake that made a wretched screech. And I was getting more and more frustrated with it. Not only did it bother me, but I felt it was bothering other riders. For this reason, I separated myself, threw my headphones in, and chose to finish alone. This was for the most part fulfilled.
I'm about 68 miles in. Everything is soaked, muddy. It's pretty miserable, but it is what it is.
Oh, my front rotor has just been grinding now. With 12 miles to go, I decided to operate on the front brake to see if I could get it to stop screeching. I didn't even want to fix it, more so just have the pistons open so I could ride without the sound. I'd be giving up a front brake, but I was willing to ride any other bike at this point. I gave up and decided to push forward with the busted brake. I put my head down, had no gloves as they were drenched with water and I couldn't get them back on, and pushed on towards the finish. I caught up to some riders that helped me get there, and before we knew it, we were done.
Just got done. That was cold, brutal, fun. Oh, just very difficult mentally. It was raining from about mile 40 or so. So we basically had to ride 60 miles just soaked. But we got it. We got it. Oh, I'm exhausted.
After getting home, I pulled my brake apart and realized that the butterfly pin that holds the pads apart had busted. I also noted that the front pads really had no pads. This probably didn't help my cause. Here's a few lessons I learned on this day. If you're going into an event with crappy weather, carry extra clothes. Fresh socks and gloves would have done wonders for me, as the ones I had on were completely soaked. If you're doing a big ride or event, check your bike. Make sure everything's in working order and will be in working order 60 miles into the event. And lastly, I think the most important one is don't give up even if your gear does. There was plenty of excuses I could have thrown out to give up on this event, but I didn't let them change my mind. I was finishing regardless of the excuse. That is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel and enjoy the content or want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions about the event or about the video, please drop them in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Till then, remember to stay stoked on spokes.